Hi, this is David Fury, the writer, producer on Buffy, and writer of the episode Primeval.
And I'm Jim Contner, the director of the episode Primeval.
That opening shot, that's CGI?
That is a CGI shot of the destroyed high school, which got destroyed at the end of the third season?
Yep. And
this is Buffy in the hallways,
looking for Riley.
Now this is Adam and Riley in Adam's cave.
And the big mystery is, why is Riley the good guy suddenly with Adam? And we learn that he has been brought there by a chip that's been embedded inside of him. There's lots of chips this season. Spike has a chip in his head.
That's the line I liked. Chips all around.
Chips all around.
That's Spike's line.
Yeah, to come up.
Yes.
And yes, this is mostly me, I think. It's a little bit of Jane.
Yeah, Riley's just discovering here that Mother has
Maggie Walsh, Professor Maggie Walsh, Lindsay
has placed a chip in his head, and he is now under Adam's control.
Once you forget your old life and embrace your destiny as I have.
The chip was a precursor to Riley becoming the next Adam, the next cybernetic warrior that the military was developing.
Now we go to credits.
Yay, credits. So my name appears. The thing about Primeval that I've talked about before is that, and giving away trade secrets, we actually wrote ourselves a little bit into a corner with the Yoko Factor. The events in that were that Spike split up the Scooby Gang. They got them all thinking a little paranoid with each other and thinking that others were talking about them behind their back. And at the same time, Adam and Spike had conspired to get a disc which had some information about the initiative and what Adam's plans were. And Spike was to get that disc to the Scooby Gang. But unfortunately, since they were all split up, Willow was the only one who could find out what was on the disc, but she wasn't speaking to Buffy. And we didn't realize it until we were writing Primeval that, well, that really doesn't make any sense. So as you'll actually see, Adam will recognize that flaw in the plan, and Spike will take the blame for it. But in fact, the blame lies with us, the writers. And we made Spike our scapegoat.
These caves have been various different caves throughout the seasons. I think they've been around for about 3 seasons at this point.
Yes, always redressing the cave.
Always redressing the
There's
cave.
George Hertzberg with his name right in front of his Adam-like visage.
You see, we are brothers after all.
Warms the cockles of my non-beating heart seeing you lads together.
It's James Marsters.
Yeah, well.
And here's Spike entering, all confident that he's going to...
Jim Contner, co-producer. This episode is actually my 9th script for Buffy and Angel, and the 7th one directed by you, Jim. You did 7 of my first 9 scripts, which was amazing, which is why some fans actually were referring to these as the Contner Fury episode. We became linked forever.
I'm very delighted to be associated with
Yes, as am I. And I'm sorry we haven't had a chance to do any in the 5th or 6th season as of yet.
Wow.
Was that Spike's chips all around?
Chips all around was before he sat down.
She will ensure that as many demons die as humans. She will achieve maximum carnage before she's too weak to go on.
No, you can't.
Stop talking.
I love Michael Gershman's lighting in this set is quite wonderful.
Beautiful.
And this is the moment that just about to discover the flaw in the plan.
Her friend.
Right.
One of the friends from whom you've so officially separated her.
Damn right I did. You should have seen him. They won't
We do
talking
love
to each other
Spike.
for a long
He is one of my favorite characters in this.
Yeah, he's gone through a lot of changes. There he is. There he is, recognizing there's a flaw in this plan. The writers have screwed up. Well, we'll make it right. This was the episode we knew that the gang would be brought back together, and we just had to somehow fix it. So
I think it was quite clever, actually, that you guys, discovering the flaw, used the flaw in the script. I think that was quite genius.
We always try to use our flaws because we have so many of them. At least I know. What does the A stand for, by the way?
Atwater.
Atwater. That is a great name. James Atwater Contner.
Family name.
Hello.
Oh yeah, this is the morning after the night of they all had the fight from the previous episode. Is that correct?
Yes, and Giles has just found out that Willow is gay. Just found out that
Right.
that they're a couple, and
Which explains for his extreme awkwardness in this scene.
yes,
Plus extreme hangover.
yes, he's embarrassed about his hangover, but also a little. Gee, I was caught quite off guard,
Please, come in.
and nobody takes off glasses like Tony had. Yes, he uses those glasses. I mean, he'll take them off, he'll wipe them, he'll put them back on.
Because that will be
I
fine.
don't know what Tony would have done with his hands if he didn't have those glasses.
I don't want to go there. He would have come up with something knowing Tony, though.
See ya.
Right. Well, good luck with that.
Now, he discovered the night before, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Well, he was also.
I
under
didn't
the-
direct that episode, so it's not fresh in my memory.
Right. He
although I
was. He was under the impression that the others were thinking the Spike gave him the impression that Buffy didn't need him anymore. That he was kind of useless to her, and that caused him to go on a drinking binge. And he was quite a belligerent drunk.
Right.
This is Sarah. I remember Sarah's idea was to sit on the floor.
Right.
I think I wrote this that she was sitting on the edge of the bed, and
That's correct.
it
it was
I
her
remember
idea.
seeing
She
that.
said-
Yeah, and I thought that was great.
I think it was very effective.
Yeah. There's something that seems more defeated about her being on the floor.
Of course, as the director, I take anybody's idea who's better than mine.
Brilliant, Jim. Brilliant, getting her on the floor like that. And Buffy doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know where to find Riley, but she happens to have a battle axe next to her bed, her dormitory.
How convenient.
Yes. And then I always get the fans always pleased when I can get somebody's shirt off, the men's shirt off, the female fans, and some of the male fans, quite frankly. They're always happy when I can get
Somebody's shirt off.
Well, I'm forever a hero to them for putting him in a Speedo in my first script, Go Fish. Put Xander in a Speedo, so if I never do anything else, I'll be remembered for that.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Are you still?
And Xander is under the impression that everyone thinks that he is a loser,
Loser, yes.
that he has no direction in life, and
Which we all know is true.
yeah, he's found it. He has eventually found it. He found it in season 4. He is quite the construction worker guy now, or the carpenter.
I
Right.
don't know.
And but at this point,
I think maybe they're right.
he's feeling everyone looks down on him, except for Anya, who loves him for who he is.
Now, just like there's scenes that you may not have
You're a
written,
good person. and
this
good
is a
worker.
scene I didn't direct.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, no kidding.
This was
Phenomenal.
one of those leftover scenes that had to go to second unit.
What do they think?
So it probably fell to David Solomon,
It did indeed.
Yeah.
producer and director on the show.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, I won't compliment you on that then.
Here we are back in the caves.
Back in the caves we've used so often and so well. Buffy is searching where she last left Forrest. She came across Adam in these caves, and Forrest, Riley's friend, met his death in the last episode, Yoko Factor. And she's wondering if there perhaps are any clues down here. And she stumbles upon Adam's lair. He was very wired into the city down there, considering the caves. Where do you get all the electricity to?
Who pays that light bill?
Yeah. All right, here's the secret entrance to the initiative.
Now, this is the first time we've seen this set, isn't
Yes, it's a whole new set. We never. This set used to be a church, I believe.
it? It was a church, and before that, it was a library.
And a library. That's right. University library, yes.
We all know that needed to.
Kerry Meyer, a brilliant
Production
designer, takes the spaces and refashions them into totally different, unrecognizable sets for various episodes. But the thing is, the arches remain the same, and then sometimes they have columns or pillars, and here he's just sort of made them more rounded.
And there was, we just saw Lindsay Krause, who came back to play Maggie Walsh as a zombie. Which, God bless her. God bless her for doing that.
Yes.
I was skeptical. I said, she wouldn't want to come back to do that. But she had a ball. She had more fun, I think, doing this episode than the whole time earlier.
Except she could never see through the contacts.
Oh, that must have been hard.
She was stumbling all over the set.
Oh. There's Forrest, who's been... Now Forrest has been the next Atom, the next cybernetic warrior commando that Riley was meant to be.
Easy, Sheriff. Watch where you point.
Well, his makeup looked kind of strange. It looked like a big turtle. I don't know. Something
Yes,
about
I remember that.
I had a big problem with that.
That description going around for a while.
Yeah, this wasn't quite how I imagined it, but it rarely is.
I found his lair.
Cripes, that's all I need.
Spike being caught in the...
Yes, caught, quote unquote.
Whatever he's planning is
and lying his way out.
Right. But in fact, he is correcting our mistake. Here's where he's now correcting our mistake about the disc and getting the scoop. He's saying, well, I gave you that disc. You need to go talk to Willow and find out what's on it.
Just because you two birds fell out now, can you?
right.
Well,
Buffy temporarily buying into it.
no worry of mine now, is it?
See, no matter what we do to Spike, I always like to think he's always evil at heart. No matter how domesticated he's become with a chip in his head, how much he's become fairly harmless. And even when he does what can be described as good, he is still inherently evil.
Well, even with the chip where he can't do any physical harm, he can still be very devious. Which
That computer screen is, I think, our first Matrix ripoff imagery. Inadvertently, I mean, there was a lot of things. While we were all big fans of the Matrix, we didn't really intend for a lot of these things to appear so matrixy. But obviously, the text scrolling downward looks very much like the Matrix, and then special effects that come later. Let's just call it an homage, less of a ripoff.
well, it's not like you're the first show to do things.
No, we always gladly admit that we rip things off, but we always try to put a spin on it. I mean, other shows do it all the time, but they don't acknowledge it. We'll acknowledge it. There's different inspirations in here.
There's an interesting fact with these tubes that our zombies, Maggie had to wear.
Right.
They had these. If you look at her butt, it looks quite large because the pump
Yeah.
was so large that we couldn't conceal it anywhere good, and so we just sort of had to, just make it part of the outfit.
And just her posture.
We couldn't disguise it. This was a hard scene for her because she has to give him an injection, and she has these white contact lenses in which she could not see through. And so she was stumbling all over the set, and we sort of had to talk her, a little to your right, a little to your left, guide her towards Riley.
And that was a real needle, right? You were trying to...
Yeah, of course, sure.
Then why don't you get out of that chair and walk out of here?
You can't control my...
Riley,
There it is.
be a good boy.
She looked kind of cool. She looks...
It's very effective.
Yeah.
It's very cool, but
The
here
way-
she's...
yeah.
That's why I had to go to an insert.
I see. Without the contacts. Okay, now the big reconciliation. She has gotten the gang together. They're all still harboring a lot of hurt. Because I think, based on what Spike's told them, they think that Well, you know, the friendship's falling apart. The whole season arc, the seasonal arc, was the splintering of your friends when you go to college, and how you know, there goes the old gang because you're all off doing other things, and it becomes hard to maintain relationships. But the purpose of this episode, more than anything, was to remind us, you know, and to remind them that they still love each other and they're still great friends.
Exactly what he said.
But I think a lot of fans were bothered by the notion of the friendship splintering, just because, you know, they enjoy the relationship so much that you know, it was very painful. I think it was very painful.
Well, I think you guys addressed it right from the beginning of season 3. Was it season 3? Season 4.
Season 4.
Season 4, when Buffy goes off to college. And
Right.
Willow was going to go off to college somewhere else and decides to stay, and Xander doesn't go to college.
Right.
He's feeling a little left out.
But you never quite realize how much it's going to affect you until it becomes reality. You think, hey, we'll still be friends. Hey, we'll still be doing things. Hey, we'll still see you. We'll do the same things. The reality is, you just don't. Your time is.
You're running in different circles.
Yeah. Yeah. It becomes difficult.
Well, I think that's what makes Buffy such a great show for adolescents and college-age kids is you really address things and issues that they can relate to, that are going on in their lives. I get this feedback from children, friends of mine, all the time about how they can watch this show and really relate so well to what's going on in their own lives.
Well, I still.
A lot of shows attempt that, and I don't think they pull it off as well as as Buffy does.
But speaking as a fan, before I actually wrote for the show, it speaks so much to a lot of us anyway who aren't still in that age group, still teenagers. I mean, I think Joss always felt the show was as much for adults as anyone, but when you call a show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it gravitates younger people, and it takes place in high school. Younger people tend to gravitate toward it.
But I find that a lot of my friends, the parents, sit and watch it with their children.
Yeah.
It appeals to everybody. This is where they're all sort of figuring out that Spike set them up.
It's very pointed. I should mention that it is the original 4 people from the series here. We specifically, when I was writing this, we left out Tara and Anya because what this episode really is about getting back. The end of the season was about getting back to the original core of what the show was, and that was these 4 people who've been with the show forever.
Oh, say him?
No, he's really not.
She's coming. I can feel
Pick
it.
him up back in the secret lab where Spike is trying to get Adam to pull his chip out.
Now, if you'll just get this chip out of my cranium.
That's the deal that he's made.
And he's made the deal that he will get Buffy there. But Adam's saying that not until he delivers Buffy will he take the chip out. Back to our Scooby Gang.
This always strikes me as a hard scenes to shoot. These exposition scenes where they're kind of stuck in the, whether it was the library or whether it's Giles' place.
Well, where do you get into Giles with like 11 people? And I've had scenes in there with 11 people.
11 people, really? Wow. Yeah, I mean, this helps that it's only the 4 of them.
These scenes aren't that hard to shoot, actually.
No, okay.
It's just trying to come up with something fresh all the time.
Right. Who's sitting, who's standing.
There's only so many ways to shoot it, and you don't want to get trapped with everybody sitting around all the time. You try to get a little movement in, as I did in this scene. Trying to get Xander to move around a little, and Giles has to go to the bookcase for the book.
So, no problem. All we need is combo Buffy.
And Buffy's sharpening stakes. I don't remember. Was that in the script? I don't remember if I wrote that.
I don't remember
She's
either.
carving steak. I was wondering if that's a bit that you came up with.
I don't remember.
It's Lowell House, Riley's fraternity. And one acknowledged entrance to the initiative. Buffy's familiar with, since she
No way.
was a member for one episode that I wrote, the Iron Team.
Right.
So she learned where the...
Which I directed.
Which you directed, of course. Yeah. Pretty much I can say anything and you directed it.
No, that's not true.
Pretty,
Game faces, guys.
This was a challenging scene.
Yes.
We had a 20-foot section of elevator shaft built on one of the sound stages.
How you doing?
So we had to keep
What was I thinking using stairs
You know.
all this time? Okay.
getting them down so far, cutting the camera, pull them back up, lower them down again, pull them back up, cutting in between. You could never do this in a continuous take.
Right. This is one of those scenes Marty Noxon wrote. This scene, I
I
believe.
hate that things have been so strained between all of us.
I mean, I wrote everything, but then we went back and we did some rewriting on, and Marty took this scene, I believe,
We've all sort of drifted apart this
because she's so good at this stuff, the emotional stuff, the stuff that makes you get a little weepy.
I would like to have felt a little more sense of them actually repelling in this scene. But
Well, you couldn't do it with the amount of...
no, they had to.
And Giles and Xander.
It's such a deep scene for the two of them.
And so much
They-
dialogue.
And they really needed to concentrate on what was going on,
Right.
dialogue-wise, rather than the activity that they were doing.
Well, I haven't been misavailable either.
But it made it very time-consuming having to go back up,
Yeah.
lower them
Yes.
down, back up.
It was very physical.
That's not your fault.
And those harnesses are not very comfortable.
I
I
imagine
know
that.
it was killing Sarah after a while. Just cutting into her thighs.
You can tell me anything.
It's tough to be the Slayer.
Yes, it is.
Do my best.
A big descending hug.
I love you too. Oh. Going now.
But hey, everything's really better now.
Let's promise to never not talk again. I promise, I promise. Xander. Oh, wonderful Xander.
It's the Xander sandwich,
Yeah.
his favorite place.
Oh my God, we're gonna die, aren't we? As we-
Giles, hurry up. You definitely want to get down here for this.
And here they are trying to very surreptitiously sneak into the initiative without being spotted, and
Lo and behold,
no such luck.
thwarted again.
Do this.
Looks like a commercial break here. I
Yeah.
think.
All right, the next two acts I think are pretty much me. These are all me. This is
So,
stuff in the initiative. I had all the tough stuff to write, all the action to write, the big fight to come, soon to come.
And Spike, quite pleased with himself that he's delivered. Buffy's fallen for the trap, only to discover that she's not alone.
Right. Again, there's a whole contradiction of you got to get back to Willow so that you can share the information on the disc. But when you come in the initiative, don't come by yourself. It made no sense. It was like poor Spike was caught in an impossible situation. He couldn't possibly deliver at that point.
Yes. I will honor our agreement and remove your chip. Take his head off.
Just a note on Adam's makeup. I believe it took him close to 5 hours to get into that makeup, if I'm not mistaken.
That can't be fun. It would take probably an hour to get out of it, I would imagine. So when you get a cigarette stabbed in your eye, you just...
Your eye goes white.
Your eye goes white, apparently.
I was trying to figure out how to get smoke to come out of that, but
Oh, that would have been great.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, this whole scene with the Colonel and the magic gourd. Yeah, that was...
What kind of freaks are you people?
Adam is here, Colonel.
Which results in, what kind of freaks are you people?
Containment cells of yours, courtesy of Adam. He's pulling a Trojan horse on you. He's just waiting.
Every inch of this.
I'd worked with Colin Farrell, who plays the Colonel here,
Oh, really?
in a number of movies, television movies. He's a very good actor.
We went through a few colonels, I think, before we wound up with him. Maybe
Yes, I understand that.
they kept dying. All the colonels kept dying because they weren't quite right, which is an unfortunate thing on this show. If you're not quite right, you die, pretty much. Whether you're a villain or a hero or just any kind of recurring character, they tend to meet untimely ends if they're not quite what we have in mind. See, there's Tony taking off the glasses. See?
The other expression I love with guarding Buffy, the show, is just because you die doesn't mean you're dead. Or you could say the reverse of that. Just because you're dead doesn't mean you died.
Right. Well, we certainly proved that time and again.
Messing with primeval forces you have absolutely no comprehension of.
And you do.
So here's the speech. Here's the other notion that we had when Joss and I were breaking this story. That the difference between Buffy and the Initiative, who both had similar purposes in capturing and killing demons and vampires, was that Buffy comes at it from the mythology, from the spiritual side, if you will, of fighting these things. And the military just thinks of them as animals, as creatures to be shot or blasted or blown up, or they use science and weapons, modern weapons. And Buffy basically is telling the Initiative, this is her turf. You're playing in her field. You guys don't understand that there's more to this than just a bunch of monsters. And that kind of infused what we went on to do in season 5. Well, here's part of Adam's plan, which was to release all the demons that are imprisoned in there and to have a holy war, if you will.
Armageddon.
Armageddon inside the Initiative. This was the episode where Buffy was to kind of discover the spiritual side of what it means to be a Slayer. Yes, and trying to decide what was college about, what do you get from college, what do you get from university you get all the knowledge in the world, but you don't, there's something that's missing, and that's what Buffy brings to the table. That she is part of something. Noticing Sophia there for a minute.
Yes. This was a day that Sarah got sick and had to leave.
Oh.
So we had to shoot around her.
Sophia Crawford, Buffy's double for the first 4 seasons.
Now, the next 2 days that we had to shoot this was quite a challenge, because we wanted to make it look big and spectacular.
Well, you did a great job.
It took a lot of planning, a lot of shot lists, storyboard. We actually did some storyboards, I believe, and worked very closely with Jeff Pruitt.
Yes, this is
stunt
Jeff
coordinator.
Pruitt's major.
This was a case in which James Marsters, who plays Spike, actually fought better than his double.
And he likes to mix it up, James.
He's good. He's very good at doing his own stunts. So we were able to use that slow motion shot of him fighting, which I think is quite effective.
It is very effective. That's great. No, you try to imagine it. I'm writing it. I'm writing, a huge battle between army guys and a bunch of demons, and you guys captured it beautifully. I don't think we'd get as much as we got.
Well, the secret too was because we couldn't fill it up with as many people as we would like to have, but to stay back on longer lenses and make sure we had a lot of foreground action happening while we were focused in the background.
Demon open house.
And stuff going on behind that. So it's kind of layers of depth to create a much more. See, the minute you get wide like that, high and wide, you sort of see that it's not as full as should be.
But here, in a lot of activity,
when you stack it up,
this is great.
It plays well.
And we usually don't use guns on the show. That's something guns were not something that Buffy usually deals with. So this was very different to actually have.
Well, this is one of those taser guns that Nick has.
Right. Some of them are, but some of them are actually firing bullets, I believe. Yeah, we don't put guns with bullets in our heroes' hands ever. I don't think. It's just not fun. about these soldiers who think that they're going to win. Firing
Lots
machine
of
guns.
explosions.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Our effects man had a
It's great.
field day.
Yeah, see that?
A lot of fire, air rams, and wire pulls.
Yeah, did a lot with very little. Where's that? It's up in Valencia. What's that?
Valencia. It was the old Lockheed.
Right.
That's where they developed the stealth bomber. So we use that
How
facility.
fitting, yeah.
Yes.
Once I'm in, barricade.
Okay, here's where the gang's about to implement their plan that they've been kind of vague about. We haven't heard really what they're going to do.
Get blowed up or nothing.
But Buffy,
We do know that it requires all of them together
Right.
to pull it off.
they need to be together. It's very important, metaphorically.
Right.
That's about those four.
So even though they're not together, they're all working together in harmony to pull off this magic
Right.
spell.
Right. Yeah, they'll never get past that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I wasn't
those
sure I
demons
should say anything about that.
Riley.
No, you do what you can.
Are you hurt? Say something.
Riley's still
Yes,
under the spell
Mark has to play a very
the chip.
right. He has to play a very difficult thing of, I want to speak but I can't, and it's a very hard to play. You know, it's how far to go with movements, and you know, should he open his mouth? Should he not? Does he? You have to play a lot with your eyes.
Sorry.
Well, we just found the less he did was best.
Mm-hmm.
You try to do too much, and
Oh,
you wonder why he can't break out of the spell.
I know Lindsay's daughter is a big fan of the show. I think that's one of the reasons she did it.
She did it. Beginning of Act 4.
Yeah, what Riley does now is something Doug Petrie's been. He's always wanted to have a guy dig something out of his body. You know, if he had a chip in his body or to actually dig it out. We've talked about it with Spike digging the chip out of his own brain, so it was something he always wanted to do. So
He got the opportunity to do it.
And it's like, okay, Doug, we'll do it. Riley will dig into his own body and get his chip out. It's like, even though he didn't have enough willpower to say anything to Buffy, he had enough willpower. He gets enough willpower, seeing her being beaten up, to grab a piece of glass and stab himself with it. It's a beautiful use of the arches in there.
Yes.
You have the camera up high, shooting past those. It's great.
And it works great when you shoot low also. This was interesting, the way I shot this. We put we had a remote head just mounted on a hi-hat right on the floor. And everyone was behind the walls, so the camera was being operated remotely by video outside the set. So we could go 360 degrees while they were doing the spell. And there it goes again, and it builds up speed as we go
And
faster
that's
and
just
faster.
The remote control.
Right, 14 millimeter lens.
That's great.
Very wide angle and close.
The spell is we kind of give everybody their due about what they bring to the party, about why they're important to the show and why they're important as a team. And Xander is the heart. Go Doug.
There's the chip.
There's the chip. Xander's the heart. Giles is the mind. Willow is the spirit. Buffy is the hand. And those four entities together are a very powerful force.
early concepts of how to destroy the initiative. Gareth Davies, our producer, came up with the idea that it floods.
Oh, I think I came up with that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Come up with that?
I think, yeah. I think so.
And I think
I mean,
we
I
got
did
off
write,
that.
because I wrote a version of it.
Did you? Yes.
Yeah. Gareth loved the idea, though.
Gareth loved the idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was too costly to do.
Yeah.
I do appreciate violence.
Good.
Now what happens in the midst of the spell that Willow, Xander, and Giles are doing, Buffy is going to become sort of an uber slayer, something mystical. And that was partially inspired by a comic book called Promethea, written by Alan Moore. Oh, that was cool. I don't remember that shot. When his arm starts to turn. That first shot ends.
Yeah. Insert crew.
Promethea being this kind of mythical goddess superheroine. And Joss had mentioned the character while we were breaking the story, and I went out and got the comic books, and I got it. And that's sort of what she becomes here.
We didn't quite intend to blow up the console as
No,
badly as we
really?
did.
Really? I guess it looks great.
A little too much charge in there.
There.
You can't last much longer.
We can.
Here she's under the spell.
Right. Rise, she's wearing orange contact lenses. I know there's a big debate about what color her eyes should be, what color the contact should be. And I went with orange because I knew there was a lot of blue. See the blue light behind him and the blue lights on the consoles?
These are great effects.
Yes, that's
She's
great.
stopping the bullets.
Yes, but a little matrixy. This is the effects that are a little matrixy, a little, you know, but very effective.
What are you making me do this for?
Of course, we don't have quite the CGI budget that the Matrix had.
No. I don't think we have the craft services budget.
Adam's not gonna like it if
Oh, this was one, you know, this was, he's trying to figure out a cool way for Forrest to die, and he grabs this canister, this gas canister that Riley has actually opened, but we don't know that, except that he dives for cover. He looks up to see flammable. Where the, that's cool.
You can see his head if you look carefully. There it is right there.
Oh, cool. All right.
Floating by.
That's a beautiful effect.
Yes.
That one I love. The rocket that turns into the three doves.
It was actually a much longer shot in the
Yeah.
dolly.
And that was supposed to be his arm turning to stone. That machine gun was supposed to turn to rock, but they said, that's too cheap. Why don't we just have him turn back to his regular arm again? Like, oh, okay.
Well, he had to continue fighting, so.
Right, right. No, not for long. He's really shouldn't have, he's pretty much powerless against her at this point. That's nice. Like the multiple kicks. And
plunges her arm into his body.
because he has his power source is a core that was attached to his spine, I think.
Yes.
Comes with a little gunk. And then her last act as this powerful thing is to...
We had a hell of a time getting that to levitate.
Really? You know, sometimes the simplest things, huh? Yeah, he looks pretty good for a guy who just dug a terrible gash into his shoulder. Probably destroyed a lot of muscle. Just saying. He's doing all right. He's fighting pretty well.
Oh, that was...
But, you know, fantasy. Now Spike comes in and takes out the monsters, so...
Saves the day.
Saves the day.
Hoping to be back in their
Saying,
good graces.
okay, how's that? You know, I know I betrayed you all, but, hey, go team.
Yes. Thank you. Although you
So you won't kill me now, right?
by the fact that you were helping Adam
Everybody is so exhausted from the spell, which plays into Restless, the episode after this, the dream episode. Because they just all fall asleep because this was so exhausting.
Well, then everything's all right, and we all get to be not staked through the heart. Good work, team.
Buffy.
Wasn't it amazing?
You were great.
We were great.
And the Scooby Gang is back together again.
You guys get to the exits. Get them open. You organize this.
Now, this was supposed to end in a big heroic shot of like Buffy launching herself back into battle, but I don't think we really. That's as much as we got, I guess.
No, we actually shot.
Oh.
No, it's in the show.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's intercut. It's become sort of a montage because we had so much battle footage
Oh,
that in order to
okay.
maximize its use, we sort of montaged the end here.
Oh, I see. Right, that's right.
Control of the complex. Our soldiers suffered a 40% casualty rate. And it seems that it was only through the actions of a deserter and a group of civilian insurrectionists.
A lot of people thought it was a little too X-Filey to have these government guys talking at the end in this
The irony of that is not
nondescript conference area. But, hey,
Well, it sums up quite
Yeah.
neatly, I think.
yeah, covert government.
What
government
happens
operations.
to the initiative?
Oh, that was the other thing. The colonel was supposed to blow up. Was supposed to pull a hand grenade, a pin out of a hand grenade, and blow himself up with a thing. But another expensive thing that we wound up taking out at the last minute.
Right.
I had to. It was an expensive show. This was an expensive.
It was a
episode.
very expensive show.
Yeah.
I think we had 8 days of shooting, and I think there was at least 3 days of second unit.
Oh. Yeah, this was the sort of the Day of the Dead shot. The demons feeding on, last, and they're gonna seal up the initiative now.
I like that going just to snow.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's good.
Yay, my boss. All hail Jaws. Well, this was fun.